Let's get more on this and speak to Eva Savelsberg, who's following the story and joins us now live from Berlin. Eva, you could see in that package there, the US recognizes the affiliation between the YPG and the PKK. It considers the PKK a terrorist group, but it continues to work with the YPG. Why is there this inconsistency in US policy?
Well, I mean, one thing is to recognize that the YPG and the PKK are, in the very end, the same organization. That's something one could know much before today, of course, if you wanted to know that. And I think the important point really is that it doesn't seem, at least at the moment, that the US will really change their politics. I mean, they continue to arm the YPG and even try to explain us that Turkey is not concerned about this. I mean, I do not understand how Turkey could not be concerned about this, because, of course, if you're arming the YPG inside Syria, this means that the YPG can easily carry those weapons to Turkey and use them there. So I think if the US government now says YPG and PKK are one organization, the logic second step would be not to arm the YPG anymore, of course.
I mean, you look at these groups very closely. What exactly is the coordination between the YPG and the PKK?
Well, I mean, the first point is that the YPG has been founded by members of the PKK. It was at the end of 2011 that some 100 PKK fighters, high-ranking fighters from the Kandil Mountains were sent over to Syria to found the PKK. So the YPG, first of all, is a foundation of the PKK. And until today, you can see that most of the leading personnel of the YPG inside Syria is, in fact, high-ranking PKK cadres. In Tal Abyad, for example, a high-ranking former PKK cadre, Alouche, is the political head of the YPG there. And I think the military authorities in Ain al-Arab, for example, they all are former PKK cadres, and not only PKK cadres, but those originally from Turkey. And also, if you have a look at, for example, those fighting for the YPG inside Syria, you realize that estimates are about 50% of them being originally from Turkey. So people fighting for the YPG and people fighting for the PKK are simply the same people in the end. And you can be today a fighter for the PKK inside Turkey and be told tomorrow to go to Syria, and then you're fighting in the ranks of the YPG. So it's really one and the same organization.
The US seem to have picked out the YPG in Syria to support in their fight against Daesh. Why do you think they've picked them out and not any other group on the ground in Syria?
Well, actually, they also tried to work together with some of those groups now united in the Kurdish National Council. In 2011, there was an offer of the Assad regime to those groups to work with them. But they indeed denied to work with Assad because they said, well, he has suppressed the Kurdish people for years and he has killed lots of peaceful demonstrators, so we cannot work with them. So they denied to work with them. So there was only one other group, one other Kurdish group they could work with, and this was the PKK. So they decided to turn on them. And I think for the PKK, this was an easy deal. I mean, they had been working for years with the father of President Assad, so they knew already whom they are dealing with. This is the first point. And secondly, I mean, of course, for the PKK, Turkey is in the center of interest. They are not really interested in what happens to the Kurdish parts of Syria and what happens to the population there. But what they are really interested in with regard to Syria, I believe, is more to use it as a source of money, to use it as a source of weapons, and to use it as a source where they can train their military. So for them, I think it was quite a good deal to let the Syrian military pull out of the Kurdish regions of Syria, so that they themselves could establish themselves there.
Okay, Eva, really interesting stuff. Many thanks for that. Eva Savelsberg joining us there from Berlin.